This is Outsourced Accounting Insights. I am your host, Will Tetreault, where we talk everything accounting and, cash related. I have a few very special guests with me today, Miina Pawlowski, Justin Horr, and Katie Truong. Welcome, everyone. So, just to get things started off, it'd be great if we could get a little background on each of you and kind of what led into your career path choice of outsourced accounting. Justin, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Will. My name is Justin Horr. I'm a manager in the Outsourced Accounting Department here at BerryDunn. I've been with the firm for 11 years. I started originally as a staff accountant in audit and tax for the first 5 years and transitioned into GAAP financial statement audits as a senior. And then in 2019, I made the jump to outsourced accounting with Kathy Parker. And I've been with the group ever since. I have a master's in accountancy from Bridgewater State University, an undergraduate degree in accounting from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Miina, you want to take it next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Miina Pawlowski. I am also a manager with the Outsourced Accounting Services Practice Group. I have worked in financing and accounting for more than 20 years now. Spent time in various industries, including manufacturing, telecommunications, logistics, and retail. I've been with BerryDunn for a little over 4.5 years now. I've had the privilege of watching the department grow, which has been super fun to be a part of. I'm a remote employee, and I live in Western Maine with my husband and 2 daughters.
Thanks, Miina.
Guess I'm up next. So I'm Katie. I'm a staff accountant here at Outsourced Accounting. I'm from Portland, Maine, and have grown up here my whole life. I went to Bentley University and got a bachelor's degree in corporate finance and accounting, and also a master's degree in finance. So kind of my background was very heavily finance driven in college, but I did take a lot of accounting courses, and BerryDunn is a firm that is really big in Portland. So I knew I wanted to come back home, but I didn't really know much about tax or audit. So that didn't really feel like an option for me. I'd never taken a tax or audit class before. So outsourced accounting is something that kind of jumped out at me as something as far as what my skill level could start at and what I could get as an entry-level job for some experience. So just kind of went to some career fair and met a lot of people that I liked, and now I'm here.
I think that's actually a great segue, because I think it shows, and kind of as we've even just done introductions, the different backgrounds people come from and how they are all very useful and applicable within outsourced accounting. So I guess, we kind of just heard a little bit from Katie about coming from the finance route and what led her into the world of accounting and why she chose this. Maybe Justin and Miina, and you guys can pick who goes first. Can you guys talk about how you feel your prior work experience, Justin coming from an audit background, Miina coming from industry, really helped you, within the world of outsourced accounting?
Yeah, definitely will. Thanks. So starting in audit and then moving to OAG, I really felt that I bring a lot to the table from a finance perspective, honestly. In OAG, we really focus on having our clients ready for different opportunities in the future, one being their GAAP audits if they have it, being compliant with different areas, making sure they hit loan covenants. So being able to provide the service of audit readiness to our clients becomes very important. So coming from 5 years in audit, I know a lot behind the testing in certain areas, accounts receivable, revenue recognition, a lot of stuff that happened within the new lease standards that came out a couple years ago. We were able to navigate it well because I've been in the area and I kind of know what an auditor is looking for when they come to us and they're starting to audit our different clients. And so being able to be prepared for some of the questions that other people have ongoing definitely provides value to our clients.
Miina, coming from an industry background, I sometimes hear people say, especially, other people in industry or other people in other caste groups, they call some stuff that we do, or they refer to two different types of accounting. There's accounting and then there's public accounting, because public accounting, very general journal entry based, things of that nature, and it looks different. So how did that industry experience really help you? Because outsourced accounting isn't exactly the same as, I came from tax. Let me do some M1s to get us to a good tax basis so I can prepare a return. Or you're an auditor. Let's do some general journal entries to make sure we're ready to comply to ASC 842. How did that industry background really help you in outsourced?
I think it's been super beneficial. I worked in private industry the entirety of my career until I came to BerryDunn. I never really thought of taking the leap to public accounting. But having this various, background in different industries has been super helpful given our client base. We have such a wide array of clients that we service across the country and the globe. And having been kind of inside those various types of businesses, it's really helped me to understand how things operate and makes it, me be able to be more relatable to our clients.
That's some good background. It's great to hear kind of all these different paths that lead to people being within our industry, because we all came from different paths. And, I came from a tax background. Katie, you just mentioned finance, Justin, audit, Miina, industry. And they're all very much applicable to what we do. But I think the things that people really want to know about is what kind of goes into being a CAS or an outsourced accounting employee or member. And so, the way I'm envisioning it is kind of, how do we peer into a day in the life of an outsourced accounting worker? And, maybe Katie, you could get us started with kind of how you start your day from the staff perspective and go into a little detail about that.
Yeah, so I work a hybrid schedule. I'm in the office 3 days a week, and then I work from home 2 days a week. Typically in the mornings, I guess it kind of depends on whether or not I'm going into the office or not, and also things like client meetings and stuff. So when I'm picking out, like, let's say our outfits of the day, if I have a client meeting, you want to look presentable. You want to, at least if you're working from home, have the top half look like you're in a professional environment. But if I'm going in the office, that obviously entails some other things like
the bottom half.
The bottom half. The bottom half, the shoes, that's big. And then just like coming into the office, setting everything up in the morning. It's not as simple as when I'm working from home. You kind of turn on your laptop and do whatever you're starting your day with. I love being able to have that flexibility between going in the office and working from home. And I would say, regardless of where I'm starting from, my day kind of starts very similar as far as when I actually turn on my laptop. So a lot of just initially checking emails, seeing anything that I can attend to at least immediately in the mornings. And if there isn't really much going on between emails or my team's messages too, to see if anyone has anything urgent from yesterday or earlier in the morning, I'll check my XCM, which is a website we use to organize various jobs we work on. It's a way for us to see the status of things and also see if we have some points or questions from either seniors or managers that you're working on. And that's normally something I try to get to first, because it's just a lot easier trying to finish up a task that's like 90% done rather than starting from the beginning of somewhere else that's completely different. And then I also just, answer questions throughout the day. There's a lot of interaction, which is really great as far as a lot of people being remote and people being just in different offices all over the Northeast and in down south and everything. There's a lot of interaction that goes around. So people will have questions, whether that be from managers or interns you're working with. So I try to be active within answering everyone throughout the day, especially in the mornings, just to get people kind of going and not have anyone waiting on anything, at least I have in my hands.
And that's important. And I think, a big part of what outsourced accounting is client service. And so how do you deal with those interruptions in the day? Because we're not exactly working through, a tax return from start to finish. We have things that are popping up in the middle of the day. Someone needs a bill paid. Someone needs some sort of waterfall calculation done, something that needs to happen in order for cash to move, right? Which is important to a lot of companies. So how do you deal with those I won't call them interruptions, but those different cases.
I think it's really important to kind of remain focused on your work. I think a lot of people can get kind of carried away with like a lot of emails popping up and feeling this urgency of I need to attend to everything immediately all at once. And then you end up working on something at the beginning of the day. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I never finished that. I did all these like little things, but at this point, I'm still like at point A of the beginning of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to kind of be aware of like those emails. I see them come in and I kind of just base it off of, one, is this something super urgent? So something like a bill, I want to have this bill paid. That's something that can be done in a few minutes, really important to the client, and it just needs to happen. So in that case, it's all right for me to kind of put down my work. Or if I'm just really deep into something, delegating work is super important. I've been here for 2 years now, so I kind of have a feel for everything and work a lot, very closely with interns and new hires. And some of those immediate tasks that kind of come up are a lot of great learning experiences for people that have just started. And it also helps me to kind of keep focused on my work, but also make sure that whatever task that came up also gets done. So I would say if I am at a point where I can help out the client and I know I should, I will, or I'll have someone work on it, or I'll finish what I'm doing currently because whatever I'm working on is just as important to a different client and get that done before I just kind of drop everything and work on something else.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of moving pieces to keep up with, but it's manageable if you use the right organizational tools to keep track of everything. Fantastic. So, it's great to hear from that staff perspective of how the day starts, how the day goes, the things that happen throughout the day.
My work days typically start the same, very, very, very similar to Katie. The first thing I do is check my email to see what I've received for mail since last time I've opened Outlook. Since we're, heavily client-facing department, I feel like customer service and, relationship building is key. So I like to respond to the messages I receive first thing or delegate responses to the appropriate team member. I review my calendar for meetings or important events that'll occur the day. Then I begin my task list. My task list varies day to day, given the nature of our clients' businesses, and my particular client base spans a wide variety of industries and countries around the globe. So I get requests with a wide spectrum of needs, but, I think Katie so eloquently spoke to, how to handle things as they arise throughout the day. You're constantly dealing with emails coming through as you're trying to finish a project and really trying to gauge the urgency of the request that's coming in and the immediacy of it before putting any work down that you have that may have a deadline to address.
And could you maybe speak a little bit to how you felt or how it seems your daily tasks or daily duties changed from, the time where you were, let's say, a senior to a manager, and how that kind of changes as you move up within outsourced accounting?
Sure. Absolutely. In our department, the expectation is that, the staff or the senior is more of the hands-on doer of the work, and the manager takes on the role of reviewer and supporter. I feel like I conversed with all the staff and seniors and subcontractors and interns on my engagements all day long, constantly answering questions, constantly providing support, providing that sort of historical knowledge that they may not yet be privy to on the client, things that you're continually teaching them as they grow, working with clients, answering the difficult questions. But yeah, I would say it's a lot more heavily on the reviewer and supporter side and less of the actual physical doer of the work.
There's definitely an adjustment when you move into a management role versus senior staff, to where, like Miina said, you were the doer and now you want to empower people to become the doers as well. You gain a lot of knowledge by managing clients on a regular basis, discussing what they need, their needs, and providing them services. And you gain all that and you just kind of hold it. But if you're not providing it down to, the staff, the seniors, to understand what's going on, they'll never be able to grow as well. So moving into the manager position, I found myself really wanting to develop and get people to do the things, but understand why they were doing them at the same time, right? So definitely walking someone through the process of, here's something that is required currently. Why are we doing it? What is it for? Who's looking at these financial statements? Who's looking for this bill to be paid? Why does it need to be paid now? And just giving a more of an analytical approach to why something's done, and then helping someone achieve like the correct answer or the best possible answer we can give someone on a timely basis to provide client services is one of the biggest things. And so, like Miina said, really being in the role of, not the doer, but supporting the people doing it, making sure people feel empowered. A lot of times staff and seniors will be like, I'll ask them, hey, can you put together something that's going to go out the door? But if you don't feel comfortable, like, I'll review it. I'll look at it with you. We can read it together. Mm-hmm. If it's an email, or we can like, what do you think your response should be before you go to talk to a client about it? That way, staff and seniors have the opportunity to come up with these knowledge points for themselves, and then making sure they feel confident enough to go back to a client and say, client XYZ, here's the response we have for you, or the approach, and here's how we're going to tackle it.
Yeah, and so I think, and from that perspective, Katie, can you kind of talk to what it's like maybe when you were first starting out, or how you feel now when you're kind of that in-between person, and kind of the support systems and structures that are involved to, still leave you open and available to contribute your most successful work?
Yeah. So I would say definitely my first year, I was not trained in any softwares that we use. I'd never used QuickBooks, stuff like that. So I felt like in the beginning, it was a lot of just kind of taking on tasks that feel very simple right now, but at the time it helped me really learn how to use the tools that we were using, how to do things as simple as creating an invoice in QuickBooks, stuff like that. I felt like a lot of my time was put to training, a lot of getting certifications, and just kind of getting acclimated to the type of work that I was doing. It was my first full-time job outside of college, and it was just nerve-wracking all around. So I definitely think it was nice to kind of have that initial, like, I have all these little things that I'm working on. And I felt like as the first year went on, I started to develop more of a client base where I wasn't just getting pulled on different ones just for the exposure of it, which I'm pretty sure that was the point of it. Mm-hmm. I started to actually take on an entire client close rather than just like, oh, I just need to input this bill, I need to mark this as paid or whatever. I could start to
build
slowly, put all together the pieces that I had learned along the way to a final product. And as I've grown to understand that with my clients now, after being here for 2 years, I know my clients really well, and now I'm passing along my work to new hires and interns and everything, and that's required a lot of me understanding kind of what Justin was saying, the why of what I'm doing, not even just from my own knowledge, but as people start taking on this work, I get a lot of just, why am I doing this? What is the point of this work paper? How do I do, like, I don't understand this. So I'm doing a lot more explaining, which I think for you to really know something, you should be able to teach it and you should be able to talk about it. And I think even if I don't know it that well, just talking about it and kind of being able to have a discussion or ask people the question of like, okay, maybe I don't really know this work paper as well as I thought, has developed my own knowledge to be able to pass on to other members of the group. And I think it's a lot of growing as I've worked here.
Yeah, and doing that kind of explaining back reinforces your knowledge, and then also, helps reevaluate when you're working through things like, why are we doing this work paper? It's like, maybe this isn't needed. It's almost like, what do they say? This is going to be a bad comparison, but kids ask the darndest things or whatever. Like, they ask questions that you just would never think about unless they said it. And sometimes, it takes someone who doesn't have the experience to say, why are we doing this? And you're like, why are we? So that is a good point. And it really helps to reinforce the knowledge base. Miina, you were promoted about a year ago into the management role, and
Decision BerryDunn ever made, yes.
have of course been doing an amazing job. So kind of what was that? So we talked about kind of the difference in what you do, but what was that transition like, and how did you feel supported in the sense of now you're going from being the doer to the support and reviewer?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a transition, one that I absolutely welcomed. The expectation was to immediately delegate all of my client work. That was a hard thing for me initially because I had been with these clients since the beginning of my time with BerryDunn, for the majority of them, I would say anyway. So I've developed relationships with them. I know how they expect to be treated, what they're looking for. I like to pride myself in my customer service and my turnaround time. So delegating that work gave me the opportunity to do a lot of coaching and the ability to develop others, which has been really rewarding for me. Got to work with Katie a lot when she first started, and now she's a rock star in our department. And we're also grateful to have her working really closely with some other staff right now, like Ina and Josh, and that's been great to see and watch their development. It also, reinforces, what I've already known and what I've learned, and just like Katie said, which is super important. And now I get to see a whole new aspect of the business, involved in different management meetings and involved with different conversations, and get to see, another side of how BerryDunn and the firm works as a whole. And it's been a really great opportunity.
Absolutely. And kind of, keeping that thought line going, a lot of things that seem to change. You go from that, being in the transactional work, the doer involved with journal entries, AP reports, whatever it is, Bill.com entry, things of that nature. You kind of develop as a manager into further and further more of that advisory role. Justin, can you kind of talk a little bit to that advisory piece as you kind of develop from the transactional doer to the I'm sitting in a client meeting and we're going over the numbers and whatever else is happening in that kind of process?
Clients look to you for answers. They look to you for, if I have X, can I do Y, or what's going on, right? Or how can I make something better with my financials or within my business or within my accounting system to be able to operate my business in a better manner or achieve my goals at the end of the year, either quick, right? And so we look at not only the financial aspect, but also the processes that clients go through to get to a certain aspect, right? So what does your AP process look like? Are you manually entering checks? Are you manually cutting them? Can we cut that down by implementing one of our toolbox tools for, AP processing? What does your AR look like? Are you manually creating AR invoicing? Can we cut down time there? CAS is, from an accounting firm standpoint, we're the accounting office for multiple different clients. We're not just one company. We're not just operating one company. We're helping different clients operate all their different companies across multiple industries. So we have a lot more insight as to what's going on in different areas. And a lot of clients come to you looking for, how can I make my accounting system better? They're also, hiring us to be their accounting background, their CFO, their controller services too. So being able to, provide different service avenues or different ways to create value within their business through accounting is one of our best assets at the end of the day.
Of course. Yeah, no. And those are a lot of, excellent points. You also tied in Insights, which is the title of the podcast, which is fantastic.
Wow, great.
So I don't know if you planned that, but that was
definitely didn't plan it.
Love it.
We've talked a bit about everything kind of within our group, how the day goes, how our support systems work, training development. What about your job is your favorite piece? And I'll kind of leave it open. Whoever wants to go first can go first. And then we can just swing around the room.
Yeah, sure. I love a lot of things about my job. I feel like, first of all, I think we have a strong, supportive environment. With the emphasis on team, we have fantastic leaders who lead by example, which is super motivating. I feel like we all kind of want to be high achievers in our group, but we aren't really competitive about it, and we help nurture each other's aspirations, which is super important to me. I always like to say we're all kind of on our own ladders to success, and career success can look really different to everybody. I also love the variety in my day-to-day job. It can be hectic at times with a lot of competing tasks, but I don't know about you, but monotony is my personal kryptonite. So I'm energized by the variation. It keeps me interested in what I'm doing and looking forward at all times. So this has been a great opportunity for me to move into, public accounting. I think it was definitely the best decision of my career, and I really enjoyed being here at BerryDunn. Working with this team specifically has been great.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of similar. I love being able to work on multiple things in our department. I mean, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. On one hand, you kind of have a lot to juggle, but on the other hand, I feel like I'm exposed to so many different industries. I've worked on renewable energy companies, bee companies, lettuce companies, as well as international companies, which has been super interesting. And especially for me, like I said, coming from my finance background, all I really want to learn is the technical aspect and like be exposed to different accounting terminology, methods, all that stuff. And I feel like it's a great way to for me to remain challenged in the work that I do, because no two clients are identical, I would say. And I feel like I'm able to constantly grow and learn from the work that I do every day, as well as learn from everyone else that I surround myself with. A lot of interactions with the clients and within our team. And I really enjoy that part of my job.
Why do I love my job? There's a whole lot that goes into that. I mean, I've been in accounting for 11 years now. I think what wakes me up to come to work every day is being able to empower other people and provide great client services and, internal services to people. Being able to see people like Miina and Katie blossom based on what we've given them, being able to grow in the group, within their knowledge base, within the financial aspect at the end of the day. Is one of the best things, coming to work that we can do. Everyone in our group at the end of the day is growing, wants to grow, has a knack for, new things, and being able to provide great client service is huge. Working with our group, everyone's willing to help you. I pick up the phone. If I have a tax situation on something, I call Will, and he's willing to, answers the phone call. We're all in different areas, right? I'm remote, Will, Portland, Katie, Portland. We're on teams all the time. We have teams located all over the country. A lot of times it's more than a phone call. It's a video call. We're actually face to face with people all day long. If we're not in person, it's going to be a Zoom to get things answered. And everyone's willing to jump on something to assist you in getting to the end goal, and so we all can succeed together. So love my job.
Absolutely. Yeah. My answer is exactly what all of you said. A lot of really great answers. I mean, I feel like I could keep this conversation going for another 2 hours. But I will be conscious of time.
It's okay.
So, thank you to all three of you for taking the time out of your day to be a part of the podcast. You guys were very insightful.
Good one.
Yep. See what I did there?
Oh, very good. Nice.
Thank you guys so much for taking this time.
Thank you. We appreciate coming on.
Thanks for having us, Will and Katie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. And catch us next time here at Outsourced Accounting Insights, and we'll have more exciting, fresh topics to go over in the world of outsourced and public accounting.